Good day, subscribers! Today is the start of a new series that I'm calling What Is? What this series is going to be about is just a basic, about 5-minute approach to different computer science topics. Today's episode is going to be What is machine learning? So let's get started. So, like I said, in this series, we're going to try to cover these topics in about 5 minutes, so let's jump right in. Machine learning, what is it? And right off the bat, here's where some people start to get confused, and they try to create a difference between AI and machine learning, where in reality, machine learning is actually a subset within AI, where AI is the technique of creating a system that is able to mimic human tasks and think like a human, and machine learning is a set of techniques in which a computer is taught to categorize different information based on a given data set. So this might sound a little bit confusing right off the bat, so let's explain it by creating a difference between regular programming, which is called hard coding, and machine learning programming. In hard coding, you give the computer a set of very specific instructions in which you know the reaction the computer will take to every action that you give the computer. So if I click a button on a website, I know that the programmer has set that up so that that button sends me to a certain place. And every single time I click that button, it's going to send me to that certain place. In a machine learning program, you feed the computer a lot of data so that the computer can create its own instructions. And because of this, you might not know the exact reaction that the computer will take to each action that you give it. So the machine learning process has 5 basic steps. 1. Get a large amount of data. 2. Clean that data so that the data can be used by the computer. 3. Select an algorithm type for the computer and feed the computer the data. 4. Get results from your technique. And then 5. Use those results to create visual representations and usable data. So within machine learning, there's actually 3 types of learning techniques. There are a couple other ones that are small and niche, but there's 3 main ones. And to get into this, let's start off with a joke. So a programmer goes into an interview for a machine learning company. So in the interviewer asks the programmer, "So tell me what's your biggest strength?" And the programmer says, "Well, I'm a very fast learner." And the interviewer looks at him and he goes, "Okay, what's 16 times 18? And the programmer very quickly, he says, 14. And the interviewer looks at him in bewilderment and says, "That's not even close. 16 times 18 it's 288. And the programmer says, "It's 288. So this is a joke, but it does show a little bit of how machine learning works, and it's actually a type of machine learning called reinforced learning. So like I said, there's 3 main types of machine learning techniques: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and what we just talked about in our joke, reinforced learning. Let's start with supervised learning. Supervised learning, which is probably the most popular type of machine learning program and what most of you would be familiar with, is using a large set of data that is what's considered labeled to teach the computer to categorize information, and to teach the computer to categorize information giving you a correct answer. What this means is 1. Labeled information. That's information that's given either positive or negative reinforcement, and then correct answer, that's the answer that you're looking for. So an example of this would be something like Netflix. So Netflix has a list of all the movies that you've watched, and whether you've liked the movie or disliked the movie. And the way they know that you liked the movie or disliked the movie is because you gave it an upvote or a downvote. That would be labeling the information. So when the machine learning program that Netflix has tries to give you movies that you like, it takes all of the movies that you like based on the upvotes that you gave, and the movies that you disliked based on the downvotes that you gave, and it's able to use that information to give you movies that you like. The second type of learning technique is called unsupervised learning. In unsupervised learning, you give the computer a large data set, but instead of being labeled like it was in supervised learning, it is unlabeled, meaning the computer doesn't know what's good or bad, right or wrong. Unsupervised learning isn't geared toward giving you the correct answer, it's only geared toward creating distinctions between different groups. So an example of where you would use this would be if you had a bunch of different shapes and you wanted a computer program to be able to differentiate between the shapes. And so it sees a triangle and it says, okay, a triangle has 3 sides, I'm going to put that in one category. A square comes in, okay, 4 sides, I'm going to put that in a different category. And it's able to create these distinctions between these objects, but it can't tell you which is good or bad because there's no good or bad shape. All it can do is create distinctions between the shapes. Third is reinforced learning, just like our joke. So in reinforced learning, similar to unsupervised learning, you start with a data set that is mostly unlabeled, if not all unlabeled. Then the computer builds these categories and tries to guess at what the answer would be. And you, as the user, or you, as the data scientist, then give the computer positive or negative reinforcement so that the computer is able to label the information. So just like in our joke, it had a data set of numbers. The question was given of 16 times 18. The computer took a guess, 14. The interviewer said, no, it is not 14, negative reinforcement, and then gave the correct answer, 288. And then the computer was able to learn, okay, it's 288. That was what is machine learning. If you guys have any questions or comments, leave a comment in the comment section. And if you have any other topic that you'd like me to cover in these kind of quick segments, leave a comment as well. Thanks, and subscribe.